Well, hello the tube and welcome to the Alchemist channel. We've got one hell of a vlog for you today. Fresh in the post, we have got the new 2-in-1 exhaust. So without keeping you all waiting for too much longer, because I did mention before I was getting new pipes and I wasn't sure which pipes I was going to get. So for the reveal on the pipes, here we go. So there we go, folks. TBR, 100% made in the USA. So what we've gone for, we have gone for the 2-in-1 stainless steel. So you open the box here, this is what you get. Let's have a look. There's your bracket and your clamps. And it looks like your instructions in there as well. Stick them down to one side. There we go, folks. There she is. Some nice little stickers as well. Beautifully packed, by the way. Well done, TBR. I mean, look at that. Fantastic. So there she is. Carbon fibre end cap. Really loving that. Look at them beautiful welds. So I've gone for the brushed stainless steel option. I didn't want the polished. I wanted it to aesthetically suit the bike. Take some of that chrome off and just give it that garage look. So let's have a look at these. Your clips go. Another beautiful weld. O2 sensors. These are absolutely as light as a feather, by the way. No weight in them whatsoever. And also comes with the heat shields. I might run it without actually and see the change in colour before we put them on this. So there we go. So I think the next thing to do is to remove the standard exhaust. And keep on watching, folks. Fire away, let's go. Okay, so one cool thing I've noticed when you take the packing out the box is really good kneeling mat supplied by TBR, so thanks very much for that. That was forward thinking. Brilliant. Okay, so the first thing is taking the heat shields off the headers. One clip there, and another clip just underneath there. And there'll be 3 on the front header as well. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. So go ahead and take them off. Okay, so the heat shields are off. And the headers are in surprisingly good condition. And just pop them over to one side out of the way, and the next thing we will remove the mufflers. And I don't know why I just noticed that must have been changed in the past, is why I've got a crosshead Phillips type screw holding that one on and a 10mm on this one here, but we'll go ahead, release those and remove the mufflers. So once you've released the 2 clamps to the mufflers here, remember then underneath on the bracket you'll have a bolt then into this mount here. So you can just see that now, that one, and she's a 13mm spanner to release those, and you'll have the same on the rear one under here. Okay, so let's get these off. Alright, so before we go any further, just a little tip, and you'll notice I've just put a rag underneath the front header and another rag just under here, and that's just so you can see that one there is ready to come off now, and we've just got one more nut to remove on the front header. But what I want to get to the point to is that some of these, there's been people with problems over the past with these seizing, snapping bolts, trying to remove them, and then it's an absolute headache then to remove them if you don't know how. Mine, lovely, they've come off nice and clean and no rust, but if you can see a lot of rust around your front header bolt, chances are it's going to be tight when you come to remove it. So the best thing to do that when you're removing these is give them a spray with a bit of freon oil plus gas type penetrating oil. Go and have a cup of coffee, come back and then try it. But before you do that, tighten it first. Okay, just a little quarter turn of a nip with your ratchet. All I'm using is 3/8. Do not overdo with your tools. To be honest, you'll struggle getting anything thicker than 3/8 through this gap anyway. Okay, so just a little quarter of a nip turn to tighten. You might feel it just, or hear a little noise click, and then go to remove it anti-clockwise, and then she should spin straight off. If she doesn't, more penetrating oil, another cup of tea, come back and work it again until she comes off clean. Okay, so the last thing I want to see any of you do is do that. You've got your lovely exhaust waiting to go on, snap the bolt, and then you're delayed for hours and hours and trying to get the thing out. So please just remember, if it's tight, don't go any further. Okay, so at this point now, you can see headers removed. Drop them down, lay it up against the rag, O2 sensor wire, which just clips on. Undo that clip there and you can see the plug there. Remove the plug, and then push it through your loom, out the other side, and then she's ready to take out, clean up, and then put in new pipes, and then the same for the rear. So just remember when you're taking your O2 sensors out not to twist the wires. Okay, so just make sure you've loosened it off the spanner and you twist the wires around with it. There we go. One front, one rear. Put them like that so we don't get them mixed up. And she's all off. So let's have a look at the instructions now for the TBR. The only other thing we've got to do is to take the header gaskets out, of which we've got the seal picks down there. We'll find the correct one for that, and get the new gaskets in. Okay, so the gaskets that you want to put back into your headers, these are the Screaming Eagle gaskets. The part number there, 17048-98 gasket kit. And that's what you're looking for. But you do need them, because if you look at the state of your old gaskets, they're all crushed, so they're not really going to do a good job to seal your new pipes. Hence why order those before you order your exhaust, because I don't think there's many suppliers that supply them with your exhaust. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's nice to see it's clean inside the cylinder. You can see one of your valves there. So let's fire those out. Okay, so once you've fished out your old gaskets, just give it a bit of a clean up with a rag of emery cloth if you've got that handy. And just ready to pop the new ones in. There you go, nice new gaskets, and ready for the headers. Right, so having a read of the instructions from TBR, one thing you've got to do is just remove your flanges from the old headers. To do that, it's just a spring clip, just a pair of pliers, just bend that slightly out of the way, and then take them off, and then we'll slot them onto the new headers. And then another thing is, what they do is then you keep your OEM bracket, bottom bracket on, and you have a second bracket here which will line up, so that'll all make sense in a little while. So we'll take those flanges off and then attach them to the new headers. Okay, so at this point now we've got the flanges off the old headers, and this one's installed to the rear section. So the next thing we're going to do now is take the O2 sensor and put that in place before we put that one on the rear cylinder. So in the bag of accessories, they do actually supply a blank and the reducer. Make sure you put the copper washer underneath, just focus on that, and screw that in tight, and then your standard sensor then will go straight in there. Okay, so that one's ready to install. Right, so at this point now we've got the headers loose. We'll just leave these so you can get the Y connector on down below, and then once you've got that in place and loosely tied to the clamp, then you can tighten the headers up. Okay, so before you attach the muffler, the Y piece, onto the headers, we have to concentrate on the bracket. There's two clips which they'll just clip onto there. And that bracket will go onto there and then attach to your OEM bracket on there. Okay, so once you've got the bracket lined up and bolted up to the OEM bracket, these two bolt onto where you've got the flange clips on there. So all we have to do now is attach the silencer onto the headers. That was actually quite painless, and they've slipped into there beautifully. So the first thing we'll do is we'll tighten it to the back bracket first, lock this into place, just give these a bit of a wobble and a slow tighten up individually to pull everything back home. I think once we've done that, then we'll put the springs on, and then we're more or less done. Okay, so we have the rear bracket tightened up. She's tightened now onto the OEM bracket, so it's just the headers now. So when you're tightening these up, just remember, just keep nipping up until you can feel it just to nip onto the gasket, and swap over, and same again. Don't exert any extra force than you needed. You just start to feel it bite, swap over, and the next one. You think it's tight, and then when you swap over, you'll realise that the other one has become loose again. So all you're doing is tightening it down nice and even. And again. And you just keep doing that until it goes no more, and then just nip it up a half a turn. Again, don't go too tight and snap those bolts. So we'll go ahead and tighten the front one up now, and we'll put the retainer spring on, which they actually supply you with the tool for pulling the spring, which if you look down there, just goes on to there, to there, and there. Okay, so we're all in place. We've attached the springs with the spring clip or spring tools, which is actually quite easy. It's a handy piece of kit, that, so I'm glad they provided that. That'd be a nightmare with a pair of pliers. What I did find, there's not a lot of room to tighten that header bolt up with the O2 bung being where it is. So I've had to loosen the silencer off and just move that front header and twist it, and use a 1/4 inch ratchet just to tighten up just on the inside here through here. A little bit tight, but you can do it. So two brothers, this was a fantastic installation, but I did find where you put the O2 port there, it could have done with just being another inch lower. That would have made things a hell of a lot easier. But that is looking absolutely fantastic. So we've connected the O2 sensors back to the front, rerouted back inside the clip, which is just inside there. You can see that just against the shadow. Back to its plug on the rear underneath there, seat back on. The only thing we've got to do now is remove this, which we don't need anymore. Give her a wipe down. We don't want any oily marks on there when she's turning colour, and that will stain the stainless. And we'll leave the heat shields off for now, I think. So we'll just clean that off and then we'll go for a start up. Well, that, my friends, sounds absolutely amazing. Now, it's a lot louder than what I thought. A lot of people said this was a quiet pipe, but no, this has got an amazing sound. So I can't wait to see this on the road. Absolutely loving the way that sits. She's got a very, very slight kick, but the ground clearance looks fantastic. So can't wait to see that on the road. So I hope you enjoyed that one. And remember, keep on watching. The next episode will be the TBR 2-to-1 review on the road. Thanks for watching, folks. See you next time.